A question can open you to new perspectives, it can narrow down a topic, it can challenge existing beliefs, or it can confirm ideas that we have on the world, right? And so in a way, there is no such thing as a stupid question, because everyone has a certain amount of knowledge up here, and there's a certain amount of knowledge that exists out here. And so if you want to tap into what exists out here and increase what's in here, then you have to ask the stupid questions sometimes, you know? It's the fool who never asks the right questions because they're too afraid and they always stay in the dark. So if you want to see in this world, if you really want to get clear, then you got to ask the right questions, even if they sound stupid in the moment, right? So I think I like to call it the never-ending onion. If you start asking yourself questions about your situation, about who you are, you reveal a lot of self in the act of asking the question. You don't even have to answer it. The question sometimes will provide you with a feeling, and that's all you really need to know. I sat down and started asking myself questions a couple weeks ago, and it was at the end of 2020, right? So it was, I was trying to figure out, like, was this a good year, right? And so I asked myself, like, am I doing all that I'm capable of? Am I moving towards this dream? It's video number 50, so if you want to go check it out, it's pretty deep, right? But basically, I asked myself all these questions, and I like to call it the never-ending onion, because with every layer, every question that I asked, it was like peeling back a layer of the onion, right? And so when you peel back layers of onion, you start to cry, and if it's a never-ending onion, the more layers that you peel back, the more beautiful it gets, the more that you cry, right? So then it's a little bit scary to dive into these questions about your own life, to ask yourself all these questions. But this is an exercise I really want you to take on. Start out with this. Am I where I want to be in life, right? Because if you're not, you have to admit it up front, or else none of this will be helpful advice. There's a quote from Hippocrates. You have to first, the patient first has to be willing to accept that they're not healthy in order to achieve medicine or receive medicine, whatever it is, right? If you want to look up the quote from Hippocrates on that. But basically, like, if you want to know how to cure yourself, you have to first admit that you're sick. Okay, if that's the premise here. And you start with, am I where I want to be in life? If the answer is no, you start asking questions. Okay, well, where do I want to be in life? And that is a crazy question to ask, because it implies that you have the ability to kind of move towards it. So you first have to ask, like, well, do I have the ability to move towards where I want to be in life? If I don't know where it is, I got to figure that out. And then on top of that, do I have the ability within me? Do I have free will to move towards this? Can I go out and just do something wildly different than the path that I'm on right now to achieve this vision that I have in my life? Well, I think so. So yes, I think that you have the ability to go out there. For a lot of people, we fall into force of habit and our daily schedules, and we never realize that we are capable of doing anything. We could literally hop on a flight to Cancun next week and, spend all our money on alcohol and throw our life away if we wanted to. Or we could spend that money to buy a race entry in a marathon in 6 months and start training every single weekend instead of watching Netflix, right? There's so many things we could do with our life. We could plan out a fun trip with our buddies for the 20th reunion of college or high school or whatever it is. Like, within you exists the potential to do whatever you want in this life. You have free will. You can do anything. And then if you spend the time to create a vision for yourself by asking the right questions, you can do what is most valuable to you, right? In the world, there will be things that are more valuable to you than other people, because you have a certain set of circumstances, experiences, beliefs, and ideas, and so much more that makes you uniquely you, right? You are unique. And so then you're going to value something different than other people. And so you have to ask a certain set of questions that will impact you. And that just starts by asking the first question and just see where your mind goes, right? So then after that, some threads you want to ask is like, well, can I actually move towards this? Are there obstacles that will prevent me from moving towards this dream? Then on top of that, do I actually want to move towards this dream? Once I realize that I'm capable of it, there's a potential that I can actually make it happen, am I comfortable with moving towards that? Or am I comfortable where I'm at right now? Am I ready to take on something like this? What would have to change for me to get to that point in my life? really go down like this list of questions, and it's important to ask the questions. I think it's more important to go back and actually evaluate the answers, right? Because evaluated experience is second to none in this life. If every day that you go through, you learn something, you evaluate what you've been through, and it's valuable to you in the future, then you have the confidence that you're doing what you should be doing on a daily basis to live this vision that you have for yourself, right? To make it a reality. But yeah, I think that you ask yourself some hard-hitting questions, and the one who's able to handle the most truth is most able to achieve success in this life, because there's going to be some hard truths, some hard pills to swallow. And when you get over those, you actually start making progress towards this goal. Most people don't want to take on that obstacle, that hard pill to swallow up front, and that prevents them from doing anything for 20, 30, 40 years. If only they got over that one bit of activation energy, they would achieve so much more in life, but they just never took the time to get over that one hump. They had this belief that had the challenge, or they had an experience that was a limiting belief, or whatever it is, right? You have to remove that first step. This is why the first step is the most important, because once you get going, it's one at a time. You take that first step off the starting line, and eventually you've run a marathon. And I see that in my own life, literally, because I just finished my first marathon of the year at the Houston Marathon, right? It's a wonderful life to live. You take one step at a time and you can achieve massive heights. So start asking yourself some hard-hitting questions. Where do I want to be in life? Figure out a vision. Get really clear on that path. It's very difficult. This is a daily process. And I think part of what meditation is getting super clear on what exactly it is that you want for yourself, right? This is like self-reflection. What's going on in life? What's the reality of the situation? Where do I want to be? Am I with the right people? How difficult would it be to move if I'm not with the right people, or to meet new people, or whatever it is? Like you could live out the dream life, but it requires that you ask a couple hard-hitting questions, evaluate the answers, and start moving towards a better life, right? A course correction is difficult, but the faster you course correct, the less harsh it will be down the road to course correct. If you're driving in a car to San Francisco, this whole thing, or flying in a plane to San Francisco, and it's like a 3-degree change, then you'll end up in San Diego. I think that's what it is. Flying from New York, there's like this whole example, like you leave out of New York, if you're barely off course, you'll be wildly off course down the path, right? So the faster you can ask yourself these questions, the more likely you are to actually be able to achieve something great in this life, according to your own definition. Because once again, your unique experiences create a certain vision of the world that's more valuable to you than it would be to other people. And so then you have to move towards that by asking the questions that are unique to you, your situation, your circumstances. But it's beautiful, man. It really is. You learn everything about yourself. You get more confident, and it's awesome. It's tough, really tough. Okay, it's like a gut punch, but it's very, very rewarding. Get clear, move towards it, and live a great life, because you have the potential within you to do that. So move towards it today by asking the right questions. Why not us?